Tonight, how did over 1,000 Ontario cancer patients receive diluted chemotherapy? The heaviest exchange of fire between Israel and Palestine in months. And fresh unease amid more threatening rhetoric from North Korea. This is Live at 5.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this beautiful spring day. This is Live at 5. I'm Malka Villegas.
And I'm all for this patio weather. I'm Riley McLeod. Legendary film critic Roger Ebert has died. This comes just one day after announcing his cancer had returned and he would be taking, in his words, a leave of presence. Ebert wrote for the Chicago Sun-Times for 45 years and was named most powerful critic in America by Forbes magazine. The 70-year-old had been battling cancers of the thyroid and salivary glands.
Ontario Health Minister says the province will appoint an independent investigator to find out why watered-down chemotherapy drugs were given to patients. 1,200 Canadian cancer patients received the drugs prepared by the company Marquis Hospital Solutions. 4 hospitals in Ontario and 1 in New Brunswick are contacting affected patients to arrange quick appointments with their oncologists. Marquis believes some hospitals did not administer the drugs properly. Cancer Care Ontario, the College of Pharmacists, and Health Canada is also investigating the situation. Toronto's Sunnybrook Hospital opened Canada's largest breast cancer centre earlier today. The Louise Temerty Breast Cancer Centre will offer patients a treatment plan within 24 hours of diagnosis, speeding up the current wait time of 6 weeks. The centre includes a program for young breast cancer patients, the only one in Canada. The date of the opening was moved up thanks to a $10 million donation from Jim Temerty, founder of Northland Power.
And a new report shows provincial governments haven't updated their funding for in-home health care despite a growing need. The Canadian Home Care Association says on average, provincial and territorial governments spend just 4% of their healthcare budgets on home care. About 1.4 million people accessed home care services in 2012. That's an increase of 55% in just 3 years. And TD Bank will be donating $600,000 to Oakville Trafalgar Memorial Hospital. The money will enhance education programs across the board. One workshop confirmed will teach practitioners and elderly patient care. Another plan is providing tuition support for nurses and caregivers looking to enroll in formal education programs.
eHealth Ontario has been ordered to pay $6.7 million to hundreds of workers after a class action lawsuit. Workers launched the legal action to recover bonuses they were promised in 2011. Health Minister Deb Matthews had instructed the eHealth Board to review bonuses in an attempt to freeze public sector wages because of Ontario's $12 billion deficit. NDPs are making an effort to tone down the socialist language off their constitution. This move aims to unite centrist voters with its traditionalists. After 4 years of debate, a senior committee is revising the list of conventions. Party President Rebecca Blakey says the aim is to help NDPers define themselves. Party leader Thomas McClure is in favor of the change and is hoping to gather new supporters.
And hours after threatening attack on the United States, North Korea has moved a missile with considerable range to its east coast. Experts believe it could be a mobile North Korean missile known as the Musudan, which has a range of 3,000 kilometers. That would make Japan and South Korea potential targets, along with U.S. bases in both countries. This report comes via South Korea's defense minister. He adds that there are many doubts about the missile's accuracy, and there are no signs that preparations are being made for full-scale conflict.
Proposals for a Toronto casino continue to draw controversies. Today, various religious groups gathered to protest the building. Our reporter Albert Tilatala gives us the detail.
Religious leaders from a variety of different faiths set aside their differences and gathered at City Hall today to express their shared opposition to a Toronto casino.
It's we, the faith leaders, will have to pick up the pieces and to give faith, and to give trust, and to give support again to these broken families.
They have seen the pain of family breakup, of financial ruin caused by gambling. They have watched money set aside for mortgages find their way into slot machines.
And we speak out of deep personal experience. of individuals in our own congregations and community who have been deeply affected. These are among the most vulnerable, psychologically and socially dislocated members of our society. Why do we want to expose them to a large, cleverly designed vortex of self-destructive, impulsive behaviors?
Reverend Philip Poole echoes his colleagues' concerns regarding gambling's negative social effects.
Ordinary gambling is not a big deal. Anglicans, Lord knows, they buy their lottery tickets every week. But we're talking about people who are betting their mortgages, people who are socially addicted to this.
Of course, those on the pro side of the casino debate see things a bit differently. The recent bid by MGM Resorts says that their resort would create 10,000 jobs, and Toronto Mayor Rob Ford says that the casino could help fund transit improvements. Toronto City Council is expected to vote on whether Toronto will get the casino later this spring. Albert Delatala, Live at 5, Toronto.
Well, will we soon have to pay to drive on our highways? Pay-per-kilometer talks are making their way to Toronto. Reporter Sarah Dos Santos gives us that story.
Metrolinx has big plans for the future. With the increase of fuel-efficient cars and electric vehicles on the road, it poses a threat to an area reliant on gas taxes to pay for road repairs. According to a report by AECOM and KPMG, Metrolinx is considering a charge of 3 cents per kilometer, which could generate up to $1.9 billion annually.
Being someone that doesn't drive, I find that this sort of idea is really discouraging for someone who's a potential prospective young driver.
I mean, I would imagine for some people that's quite ridiculous, and others would think that's great. It's probably going to equal out the same to be as if you're driving with gas, and at least you're saving the environment.
I don't think it's a really good idea because, well, it's a good idea for the government to make money because obviously we're going on the highway every day, but I don't really think it's fair to people to charge them just to drive on the highway.
Some experts believe that charging by kilometer is wise because it charges those who use the roads the most and encourages use of the routes. Here at Sheridan College, I'm Sarah DeSantos.
Councillor Doug Ford said Wednesday that he plans on running for premier in May should an election be called. Ford made the announcement during a radio interview saying he guaranteed Kathleen Wynne's defeat. Mayor Rob Ford supported his brother's ambition, saying he would make an excellent MPP. Meanwhile, Wynne says she has no plans to call an election and that she intends to govern.
And in other Ford news, Hero Burger has a huge fan in Mayor Rob Ford. Ford led a 2-hour city council debate pushing for Hero Burger to set up a Nathan Phillips Square location previously. The bid was previously rejected. Councillors hoped a restaurant showcasing the diversity of the area would be built instead. Hero Burger was one of 2 key debates at the meeting. Some councillors called the debate a waste of time.
A 15-year-old boy shot last night in Lawrence Heights area is expected to make a full recovery. Police responded to a call where they found the boy with 2 gunshots to his lower back. The boy was with 2 friends when the drive-by shooting happened. Police say it may be a case of mistaken identity. Investigators are currently looking for a white or silver Toyota Camry and a dark-colored Mazda or Nissan.
And Royal LePage just released its quarterly house price survey. Reporter Nadia Apkarian explores what it means for Oakville residents.
Students graduating from college or university are spending a longer time looking for jobs and starting at lower wages than their parents did. This might stall their ability to own a home. That's because Oakville housing prices are 50% higher than the national average. Royal LePage's quarterly house price survey indicates the market is highly unusual but supportive for housing. President Phil Soper says it's not likely the prices will decline anytime soon. Oakville residents agree.
I don't think it's going to soften much in Oakville. We continue to just keep bringing the right people in, and it's, by right I mean upscale people who are willing to pay a lot for their homes.
Rent in Oakville is averaging $1,300 per month. For some Canadian homeowners, that's more than a mortgage payment.
It can be hit and miss. You can see some hefty prices here or there, depending on the location and what you're getting.
According to the Oakville Real Estate Board, the average home costs over $600,000. That can make things difficult for first-time home buyers hoping to get into the Oakville housing market. Though the market is stable and mortgage rates are low, first-time buyers must still contend with a minimum 5% down payment.
if he has to go and buy a house for 450,000, how he can manage?
You know, in Vancouver they have the same problem. I think it's even worse there. I know people 45 years old still renting. It's a kind of a disturbing trend.
The full Royal LePage survey will be available online in May. Nadia Abkarian, live at 5, Oakville.
U.S. Steel Company is preparing for a possible lockout in the near future. Contract negotiations are currently underway. The plant is training managers to take over production at a Nanticoke plant on Lake Erie should a lockout occur. Local union president Bill Ferguson says things are moving at a snail's pace. Negotiations continue until April 15th, which is when the previous contract ends.
Conflict strikes in Palestine and Israel once again. Tensions rise after 2 teenage boys were shot in the West Bank. This and more after the break. Well, an Aboriginal leader says in Manitoba says he'll be on a hunger strike until Prime Minister Harper agrees to a meaningful dialogue about changes to funding agreements for First Nations people. Grand Elder Raymond Robinson is from the Cross Lake First Nation. He says he's acting in the interests of future generations. He made the statement at a small gathering at Concordia University.
Alabama authorities are reporting that strong winds were responsible for moving the Carnival cruise ship Triumph from its dock. The ship was docked for repairs after being stranded off the coast of Mexico for 5 days in February. It drifted for 5 hours and hit a cargo ship before being secured. Triumph was then moved to the Alabama cruise terminal to continue repairs, including new damage to the hull.
And at least 21 people were killed today during fighting in Damascus. Syrians have started to leave Damascus as violence edges closer to the city's core. In March alone, more than 1 million refugees left Syria in the wake of violence. The 2-year civil war is dragging on with no foreseeable solution. The UN has placed the death toll at 70,000.
Chinese authorities are taking action to combat a new strain of bird flu. The new virus has already killed 4 people and 11 have been infected. Officials have now started to monitor chicken farms and vaccinations and suspend the importing of birds. Chinese residents and newspapers have been questioning the government on why it took so long to implement the new system.
And a new American ambassador to Canada has been chosen by President Obama. Ex-Goldman Sachs partner Bruce Heyman was accepted to the job, but he must still pass a vetting process and be formally nominated. Heyman and his wife were high-level fundraisers for the Obama campaign. If accepted, Heyman will replace David Jacobson, who has held the position since 2009.
Pope Francis has called for aid in Argentina after 56 people were killed by flooding. People were forced to climb onto their roofs to escape the same fate. Residents complained that they had to rescue themselves and their neighbors as cars flooded to the rooftops. President Cristina Fernandez has announced security measures to combat vandalism and helped identify the dead. At least 2,500 have been transported to Argentina's capital to escape the damage.
Thousands are protesting in the West Bank after 2 Palestinian teenagers were killed by Israeli soldiers. The teens were killed yesterday in the West Bank after throwing firebombs towards Israeli troops. Protesters are also angry about a 64-year-old Palestinian prisoner who died from throat cancer in Israeli custody. They blame Israel for not giving him proper treatment. The unrest is clouding an upcoming visit by U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry and underscores the difficult task he'll face in trying to restart peace talks in the coming months.
The entrance to hell just got a little too close for comfort. Italian archaeologists reportedly uncovered a portal to hell from the ruins in southern Turkey. The cave is believed to be Pluto's Gate, a mythological entrance into Hades. Archaeologists say they witnessed birds die after flying into the cave, which is believed to be full of carbon dioxide gas. In Roman mythology, Pluto was the god of the underworld.
And Roger Ebert was a truly exceptional person, a pillar to film criticism and indeed journalism on the whole. When we come back, we'll take a look at his legacy and pay tribute to the first journalist in history to win a Pulitzer Prize for film criticism. It's time to say goodbye to the classic Jay Leno and make room for the young and funny Jimmy Fallon. Reporter Nick Valencia gives us the details.
Today I accepted a new position. I am going to be the head basketball coach at Rutgers University. Thank you very much.
With a touch of his trademark humor, Jay Leno announced he'll step down as host of NBC's Tonight Show, a spot he's had for over 20 years.
I think so, yeah.
Stepping into the gig will be 38-year-old Jimmy Fallon, a seemingly strategic move by NBC to attract a coveted younger viewing audience.
You know, Jay Leno's getting up there in years. Yes, he has a great audience. Yes, they're very loyal, but they're getting older too. Jimmy brings in the young audience, the advertiser dollar audience.
TV critic Maggie Furlong says Leno's departure will mark a new era in late-night entertainment.
What kind of legacy will Jay Leno leave behind?
You know, Jay Leno will always be in that list with Johnny Carson and Jack Paar and these late-night guys that made The Tonight Show what it was today.
As part of the change, The Tonight Show production will leave its Burbank, California studio and return to its original home in New York. Fans lining up to see Wednesday's Tonight Show taping had mixed reaction to the news.
It would be sad to see Jay go. We love him. We've spent years watching him.
I still don't believe it's true.
It's true, Mom.
Okay.
Jay's kind of old.
No,
he's got to go.
He's not.
Jimmy. He's the up-and-coming, I love Jimmy.
Reports about a possible Tonight Show switch-up have been circulating for weeks. Leno and Fallon hinted at the change and even joked about an alleged rivalry in a skit earlier this week.
Jay, can I ask you something? We're still friends, right?
The friendly exchange is quite a contrast from 2009, when NBC tried to change up The Tonight Show by installing Conan O'Brien. The Peacock network seems to be laying the ground for a smoother transition this time around.
I want to congratulate our good friend Jimmy Fallon. He is a hell of a guy. He's going to do a great job. Jimmy, don't let it slip into 6. We're counting on you.
And for Leno loyalists, he'll still be on air for another year. Nick Valencia, CNN, Hollywood.
Films are rolling into Toronto again this spring for a brand new 9-city tour. Mick and the boys will start off at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. They will hit 8 more cities along the way, including Toronto on May 25th. The band has used Toronto as rehearsal space for some of the major tours. They love performing in the city and have known to play some spur-of-the-moment surprise gigs at venues such as the Horseshoe Tavern, the Phoenix Concert Theater, and the Palais Royal. The tour is called 50 and Counting, an appropriate name for a group who seem to be ageless. It's not over yet. Mark your calendars because there will be 15 new episodes of Arrested Development available on May 26 via Netflix.
No, there are very few intelligent, attractive, and straight men in this town.
Well, that certainly leaves me out.
Enter the room! This offbeat comedy centers around Michael Bluth, also known as Jason Bateman, and his eccentric family. Other well-known characters include Michael Cera, Portia de Rossi, and Will Arnett. The show has been off the air since 2006 after being canceled by Fox. The return of the cult favorite will surely make fans extremely happy. Ryan Gosling can't get any hotter, right? Wrong. He has major appeal, and his new flick, Only God Forgives. He has teamed up yet again with his Drive director Nicholas Winding Refn for this dark and seductive film. Gosling plays a Bangkok gangster looking for vengeance when his brother is killed. The film will be in theaters on May 23rd. So it's official. Jay Leno is out, Fallon is in. The iconic Tonight Show will be heading from sunny California to the Big Apple come next year. Leno, who has been the host for 22 years, is leaving on a high note, agreeing to the changes without putting up a fight. A replacement for Fallon's old-time slot is still in the works, but rumor has it Seth Meyers may fit the bill. We will have to wait and see. That's it for entertainment. Now over to Jonathan with sports.
Thanks, Monica. With all the hype surrounding the Blue Jays in the offseason, nobody was expecting them to drop their first 2 games of the new campaign, and yet that's exactly what has happened. They played host to the Indians again last night at the Rogers Center and forced extra innings thanks to Jose Bautista. That's the first dinger of the year for the Toronto Slugger. Unfortunately, the Tribe answered back with a home run of their own, this one off the bat of Mark Reynolds. Final score 3-2 for Cleveland in 11 innings. The 2 teams will wrap up the 3-game series this evening. Better news for the Raptors, who welcomed the Wizards to the ACC last night and snapped a 2-game losing streak. It didn't look good for the home team early on. The Wizards outscored them 26-16 in the second quarter and took an 11-point lead into the locker room. But the Raps fought back, utterly dominating the third and coming away with an 88-78 victory. DeMar DeRozan led the way with 25 points. There's 2 of them right there, while rookie Jonas Valanciunas added 24 points and 10 boards. The ACC will be hopping again tonight as the Philadelphia Flyers pay a visit. They'll be bringing along their newest acquisition, goaltender and Oakville native Steve Mason. The Flyers picked up the 24-year-old goalie yesterday in a trade with the Columbus Blue Jackets. No word yet on whether Mason will get the start tonight. He was the NHL's top rookie in 2009, but has struggled since then. The Leafs also made a deal yesterday at the trade deadline. They got defenseman Ryan O'Byrne from the Colorado Avalanche. He'll be in the lineup tonight as Toronto is looking for its 4th consecutive win. March Madness extends into April as the NCAA men's basketball tournament wraps up in Atlanta with the Final Four. Louisville takes on Wichita State in one semifinal game on Saturday night, while Michigan takes on Syracuse in the other semi. Louisville does seem like the team to beat, the only #1 seed left in the tournament, although the Wichita State Shockers have lived up to their name by taking out the top 2 seeds in their region and making it to the Final Four for the first time since 1965. The championship game is set for Monday evening. Staying with U.S. college basketball, Rutgers University in New Jersey fired head coach Mike Rice yesterday after this video was made public by ESPN. The video shows many disturbing instances of Rice physically and verbally abusing his players, throwing basketballs at them as if it were dodgeball, grabbing, shoving, and kicking them. The verbal abuse included homophobic slurs, as you'll also see. The video has caused significant outrage, with even New Jersey Governor Chris Christie calling for Rice to be fired. Rice has apologized for the abuse, saying there is no explanation or excuse for his behavior. And if you're looking for something to do this weekend, why not check out Skate Oakville's 75th anniversary shows on Saturday and Sunday at the 16 Mile Sports Complex. The program is called Diamonds, a Jubilee celebration on ice, and 200 skaters will take part in 3 shows on Saturday at 1 and 7 p.m. and on Sunday at 2. Tickets are on sale at the sports complex. A portion of the proceeds from Sunday's show will go to the construction of the new Oakville Hospital. And that's it for sports. Here's Katie with the weather.
Thanks, John. Well, we've had some really nice weather today. It's been a near perfect spring day as we enjoy clear skies and sunshine, but a gusting southern wind makes our +9 temperatures feel a little bit closer to +5 every now and then. But you know, that hasn't stopped students here at Sheridan from venturing out without their coats or jackets today. I'm seeing a lot of people taking the time to enjoy the outdoors, to bask in the sun's rays, and I even hear the birds chirping. I think spring is truly in the air here in Oakville. Now let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. Tomorrow we'll see more sun with a few cloudy periods. However, it won't be quite as warm as it is today as a brisk wind moves in from the northwest. So the expected high of +5 will feel more like 0 throughout the day on Friday. Parts of northern Ontario are expecting snow over the weekend, and there's a 40% chance that some of that will make its way to us in the form of light flurries combined with rain on Saturday. On Sunday, the precipitation will fall in the form of rain, but along with the added bonus of a high of +12. The trend of high temperatures in the double digits will continue into the beginning of next week, combined with rain, and more rain. But remember that April showers are a sign of spring, and we all know what April showers bring: umbrellas. So don't forget to grab yours before heading out in the next couple of days. Enjoy the sun while you can, and I'll send it back to the desk.
Well, torn ACLs seem like common sports injuries, but there are ways to prevent and to treat and prevent them while getting active in the warmer months. Reporter Susan Hendricks gives us the scoop.
In any sport, injuries happen. Sprains, strains, and tears are common, especially when it comes to the knee ligament known as the anterior cruciate ligament, or the ACL.
It is a ligament that runs from your femur bone, your thigh bone, to your shin bone. And basically what it does is hold the knee joint together.
Doctors say ACL injuries can happen to anyone, even the weekend warrior. Many require surgery and long bouts of rehabilitation. According to specialists at Ohio State University, athletes usually favor a certain part of their bodies, such as the trunk, thigh muscles, knees, or feet when they jump and land. Those who use their knees or are ligament dominant are more prone to ACL injuries, but all styles can cause an injury. Now, OSU researchers are using simple screening techniques to assess the athlete's body use.
We look at his specific profile, his specific muscle imbalance or dominance patterns, and then we design a neuromuscular training program, and that's the good news in all of this.
The techniques are so accurate that the NBA has asked OSU researchers to help identify which of their athletes are at high risk and come up with programs to try and prevent injuries. For today's Health Minute, I'm Susan Hendricks.
Well, that's our show for tonight. Once again, somber news tonight that legendary film critic Roger Ebert passed away earlier this afternoon.
You're right, Malika. Looking back, once again, Ebert was famous for his trademark thumbs up, thumbs down reviews. He was a Pulitzer Prize-winning film critic. He marked 46 years writing for the Chicago Sun-Times only just yesterday. He was at the paper since 1967, and he was 70 years old.
Well, thanks a lot. Join us at jnmjournal.com. Good night.
Chicago movies are always about teenagers. Nobody above the age of 19 lives in Chicago.
Ferris Bueller.
We commute from out of town, I guess. That's a cross between two other Chicago teenager movies, Risky Business and Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I can read your mind.
This movie probably can. This movie could also be called Ferris Bueller's Sister's Day Night Off. It stars